There is evidence of horses. Horse bones have been found in a number of archaeological digs in historical strata.
For example, there are some caves in Mexico that have Mayan artifacts in association with horse bones, notably the Loltun caves.
They've almost always been discarded because the archaeologists assumed, on the basis of ideology or preconceived opinion, that that must be site contamination. Those horse bones can't belong there. And yet they've been found at the right levels. There have also been some horse bones that have been radiocarbon dated to about the time of Christ that were found up in the upper Midwest in the United States.
We're hoping that at some point these can all be located and radiocarbon tested.
Preliminary results seem to indicate that those horse bones do date, in fact, to Book of Mormon times.
There were a few others that were found to be pre-Columbian, but post-Book of Mormon. That's significant because the claim has long been made that there were no horses in the New World from about 10,000 BC until the time of the Spanish arriving here. So Columbus initially in 1492 and then followed by others. But in fact, there are a number of them that have been found in, say, the 11th century, the 13th century. They're before Columbus, but they're after the Book of Mormon. So they can't be used as evidence for the Book of Mormon, but where in the heck did they come from?
So it is not a done deal to suggest that there were no horses in the Americas in Book of Mormon times. There's considerable evidence for horses. It's just been little noticed.
Their land also is full of silver and gold, neither is there any end of their treasures. Their land is also full of horses, neither is there any end of their chariots. Well, it's not talking about the Nephites. This is a passage from Isaiah. Yeah, it says compare Isaiah 2. And the first verse says, the word that Isaiah the son of Amoz saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. He doesn't say here concerning Mexico and Guatemala.
So far, no direct evidence of chariots. There are roads in a lot of places that suggest heavy traffic. They might have been developed not just for foot travel, but for some kind of wheeled travel.
Case of Ammon and the Lamanite king. We don't know what the nature of that chariot.
It's possible, and I'm just thinking out loud here, that the word chariot may not mean exactly what we picture. Again, we always have to be open to the possibility that it's not quite what we've imagined to be a chariot. The word for chariot in Hebrew is very similar to the Arabic word for boat, and they simply mean in both cases something that's ridden. That doesn't say necessarily it looks like Ben-Hur's chariot. It might be a different kind of thing altogether. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying when you're looking at ancient documents, you have to be prepared for the idea that that your mental picture may be wrong, that what you imagine from the movies may not be actually correct.
Absolutely. Depends on the time period. You go back far enough and you find elephants.
The evidence for elephants is very controversial. It's been usual received opinion that elephants died out quite a few thousand years before the Book of Mormon story begins.
But as it turns out, there are some who still survived on Wrangel Island, which is off the northeastern coast of Siberia. And the latest of them is from 1700 BC, which is well within Jaredite times. Well, that doesn't prove that there were some farther south in the Americas, but we certainly should expect that they could have been.
There has been, for a long time, for decades now, a minority of zoologists, archaeologists, and so on, who argued that elephants actually did exist in the Americas up until something like 2000 BC, which is just about right for the Book of Mormon, because we're talking about Jaredite elephants, not Nephite elephants.